Hello, soulmates. It is such a pleasure for me to be with you today. For those who have already subscribed to this channel, I just want to say thank you. For those who are just coming on board, thank you also. And for those who were curious and stopped by, thank you also. Today, I'm going to show you how to achieve a mermaid gathered tail skirt. Now, this is a sketch of the skirt that we will be working on. So here I have this skirt. So basically this skirt is divided into three different areas. We have the waistband, we have the main part of the skirt, and then we have the tail of the skirt that will be gathered. Okay, so for me, I want a waistband of 2 inches, and I want my skirt to have a total length of about 30 inches. Okay, so as I go on, I will explain to you how I achieve each of these numbers so that you could fully understand how this skirt is being made. So let's get started. Here I have the things that I will need in order to achieve this skirt. I'm just gonna put this aside so that we could work on our skirt. So here I have the main part of the skirt, and that's what we will be looking at first, the main part of the skirt. So here I have my fabric folded into 4. So if you notice on this side of my fabric, it is 1 inch wider than the front. So this is the front and this is the back. Okay, so the back has a 1 inch seam allowance, which I left right here, that I will use to insert my zipper, because this skirt will have a zipper. Okay, now this is the front of my skirt, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you exactly how to do the main part of this skirt. So if you look at my sketch here, you're gonna see that this is gonna have a 2-inch band. So whenever you're making a skirt, it is important that you deduct the height of the band from the main part of the skirt, or the length of the skirt. So I want a skirt of 30 inches. So here I have my fabric, and what I did is that I folded the width of my fabric to the biggest part of my body measurement, which is my hip. My hip is 43 inches, and when I divide that by 4, because here we're working with 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I divide that by 4, I'm going to get 10.75, which is here. But I added some extra seam allowance for my side seam, and also if you want ease in your garment. So to start making this skirt, the first thing you have to do, as I said, I'm cutting both the same time. You have to start with your waistline. So I'm making my waistline here. So from this waistline, you are going to take your 2-inch band. Okay, so here I'm going to put my 2-inch, that's going to be off because my band is going to go there. And then you're going to take your vertical measurements, and you're going to put your hip line. Mine is 8, so it's going to be here. All right, so it's going to be 8 inches right here. You're going to make that into a straight line. So that's your hip. Now, to get the length of this main part, you're going to take the measurement from your waist to about 2 inches above your knee, because what you'll find, if you make this skirt all the way to your knee, because it's gonna be tapered, you're not going to be able to walk properly. So you're going to take that measurement to about 2 inches above your knee, so that when you move, you could move freely. So for me, that is about 20 inches. So 20 inches is above my knee, right? So that's right here. 20 inches is here. Okay. And what you find is that I have some extra seam allowance that is 1/2 inch to attach my gathers to the skirt. So when you achieve this, your vertical measurements, you're now, I hope you could see my chalk very well. You're now going to insert your dart. So here you're going to come at your waistline and you're going to insert a dart. To get where your dart is going to be positioned, you're going to find 1/2 of your bust span measurement. My bust span measurement, that's my nipple to my nipple, that is 8. So here I'm going to put 1/2 of it. That's right here, 4. And I'm going to put the same thing also at my hip. Okay, 4 inches. And I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect those 4 inches mark. Now you're going to put your dart. So I'm going to take 1 inch dart for both sides. At your hip for the front, so the front and the back, they're different. So for the front, you're going to go up about 2 inches or 1.5 inch, depends on what you want. I'll go up 1.5 inch. But for the back, because we're drafting the front and the back, so you're going to go up 1 inch. Okay, so now you're going to connect this line there, and you're going to create your dart measurement, or the dart right here. Okay, so that would be your dart. So remember, we're drafting the front and the back, and all of these measurements start from the front, and not from the seam allowance at the back, the front. So everything goes here. So now you're going to put the measurements around your body. For my waist is 34 inches. That's 8.5, or I'm just gonna make it 32 inches. So not 32, 33 inches. So 33 inches is going to be, so 34 would be 8.5. So 33 is going to be 8.25, right? So 8.25 is going to be here. Okay? But you have to take in consideration the 1 inch dart that you're taking here. So you have to add it back here. So that's for the dart. But then you're going to need a 1 inch to sew the side seam. So that is another 1. So let me go over that again. My waist is 33. 1/4 of 33 is 8.25, right? That's what I have here. But then this 1 inch dart is gonna be 1 inch. So that's gonna be 9.25 right there, plus 1 inch to sew it together. Then you're gonna go down to your hip. My hip is 43, and that's 10.75. So that's what I'm gonna put right here, because I don't want this skirt to be very loose on me. I want it to be quite tapered because it's a mermaid skirt. So I'm just gonna use my actual measurement. You can go ahead and put whatever seam allowance you desire, but I will just leave my hip the way it is. And I'm going to take 1 inch here to join it together. So at the end of your skirt, now this depends on the body type you have. I'm not so curvy, so from this measurement, so here I have 10.75, I'm going to subtract 1 inch from that. That's going to be 9.75, and that's right here, plus 1 inch to sew it together. Okay, so now you're going to take your hip curve and you're going to connect. Okay, connect those lines. I hope you can see my chart very well. All right, but here at the hip, I always advise people, go down from your hip 1.5 inch, right? That's somewhere here, right? Before you start to make that curve. I just believe that it sits so well. It sits so very well when you come down by 1.5 inch. And you're going to know from that 1.5 inch point, you're going to connect it to this point here. Okay? So I'm connecting that to that point. And then I have my 1/2 inch here to sew it together. So, but remember to blend this up carefully because you don't want it to be too sharp. Now, at your waist, you're gonna add your seam allowance. Okay? So my seam allowance is 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna have 1/2 inch here for my seam allowance. So there you are. That's your seam allowance. Right? So now that is to join the band to the skirt. Now you're going to take your hip curve and you're going to connect that 1/2 inch here. Okay? You curve that up nicely. Okay? So you have some persons who always like to go down like 1/4 inch here at the front, not the back, the front. Okay? So you can go down and then connect it here. Right? But that helps with the tummy area. Okay? So this is now the main part of your skirt. So before I cut this out the back, you always cut the back first. You're going to transfer your darts. You're going to transfer your darts. So here I'm going to, because I'm going to transfer it to the back pattern right here. So I'm going to move this here, right? And I'm going to make a mark there to know that that's where my dart stops. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side of the fabric. Okay? So here basically the main part is done. Ensure that you start to, when you start to cut the 1 inch, you're not going over it. All right? So this is it. So what I'll do now is that I will also make the mark here on the front piece so that you don't forget. So don't forget to do that. All right? So now I'm going to cut this out. Okay? Ensure that you go over your measurements, okay, before you actually start to cut, because you don't want to make any mistakes when cutting. Okay, so always go over your measurements to ensure that you have gotten it correctly. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the back first. So I'm gonna, all right, okay, cut all the way on that line. All right, ensure that you have it right. See, I'm correct. So okay, put that aside. So what you're going to do now is that you're going to notch, not too deep, right? Notch the darts so you know where they stop. Okay, so this is the back, and then you're going to take note of the hip. So you're gonna notch that area so that when you're sewing, you know that those match up nicely. Right, so I'm notching that area, the hip area, and I'm also notching the seam allowance. Okay, so here you have it, guys. This is the main part of the skirt. So now I'm going to slit this open. Slit it open. Okay, so there you have it, guys. See, this fabric is beautiful. I love it. Okay, so that's for the main part. Let's go over to the band. Now for the band, okay, so this is my band. What I did, to get the height of your band, all right, so your band is gonna be folded, right? And remember we said that you need a height of 2 inches, or I need a height of 2 inches. So that's what I have here. But in all, my band height is going to be 5 inches high. And the length, I made a length of 37. So I made it quite long so that I don't make a mistake. But the height of it, remember, you're going to have, and this is folded in 2. So I folded it in 2, and I also put interfacing on my fabric so that I will, it gives it some stability whenever I sew it. So if you need a 5-inch band, a 2-inch band, I'm sorry, you're going to cut it 5 inches high, because when you fold it, you're going to have 2.5 inch on both sides. So whenever you attach this part to the skirt, then you're going to be left with 2 inch. I hope you understand that. Now let's go over to the gathers. Okay, so we did the band already, and we did the main part of the dress. So now we're going to do the gathering. Okay, so here I have this fabric left, right? This is what I have left from the material. Here I have, so remember we said we want the gathers to be 10 inches long so that it could fulfill the requirement for the dress, the skirt. So we want a 30. So here we're gonna need about 10 inches. So here I have 12 inches. But remember, we're going to need seam allowance to join the gathers to the main part of the skirt. And also we're going to need seam allowance to fold it under, right? So in order to get your gathers and how much fabric you'll need to get that gathering, how I'm going to sew this dress or this skirt, I'm going to close the back of the skirt. But then I'm going to put the gathering at the front and also the back. So here I'm going to take the measurement of this. Okay, so here I have 10.5 inches, right? So you're going to multiply that by 2 to get the front, the whole front, right? All of this here. So when you do that, you're going to multiply that. It depends on how much gathers you need or how full you want the end of your skirt to be. You can multiply that by 2.5 or 3 inches. It depends on you. It depends on what you want. So here I have a length of 56 inches, right? So that is enough to do the front, because remember the front is basically 10, so 10 times 3 is 60, so it's enough for me. It's more than 2.5. So what I'll do is that I'm going to slit this, right, to get the back and the front. So I'm slitting this, careful how you slit. Ensure that it's even. Okay, so I'm slitting because I need the back of the skirt and the front of the skirt. Okay. There you go. So here I have two pieces, one for the back, okay, and one for the front of the skirt. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to sew the skirt together. To sew it, you're going to need a zipper to put on your skirt, and let's get to it.